Doing today?
Oh, hanging in there.
Wow.
I'm glad it's 5 o'clock.
Wow, one of those days, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry to hear that.
yeah. Did everybody watch the concert last night? That was like my last best moment, was listening to the concert and watching the fireworks go off. Is everybody as
I saw some
excitable
of
as
the
I am?
fireworks. I saw some of the fireworks. I also found some really good Inauguration Day playlists on Spotify that
Oh,
people had made public. Highly recommended those. I was bopping along to one of those.
oh,
Together
nice.
last night. Yeah.
Well, that of course reminds me that Obama 2008, of course, Kate and I were together in Jakarta, and we had a party, I guess the night that the election day,
Mhm.
as they were counting down the electoral college. We had a big party and Kate was the DJ. So I had my Obama inaugural
Nice.
playlist and I don't have it on Spotify. I should have transferred it over, but yeah, there were some good ones.
Happy. I bet that would be great.
Yep. Yep.
That would be
Yeah.
a really special place to be for
Oh, it
Obama
totally was. Yeah,
presidency.
because
I mean, I can only imagine how electric it must have been among everyone there.
yeah, so we had his the kids he went to school with in Indonesia at the public school is still the primary school still standing, and it's kind of a well-known primary school down in central Jakarta, and so his classmates would come to our events, to like they were so we remember he went
Yeah.
by Barry when he was
Yeah.
in Indonesia, so everybody knew Barry. And there were older ladies that remembered Barry used to come and steal cookies out of my kitchen, and his favorite restaurant, legend has it, is still there, and it's right down the street from his primary school, and it looks like something that came out of like the 1978 or something. It's still got like white tablecloths with the thick plastic on top of it, with
Oh,
like
yeah.
thumbtacks around the edge of the table to hold it on, and these Indonesian waiters all wear like white button-up shirts and little bow ties. And it looks like it hasn't been like renovated or anything really done to it since the 1970s. And so they're kind of known as like the restaurant that Barry would go to for like a special birthday dinner or something, because it also served semi-Western food. And Barry's dish was the tongue, according to the restaurant that he
Wow.
tongue.
What kind?
Okay.
There's something, it's called tongue steak.
Like from a
I have
cow?
to say I've never ordered it. If Anita were on the line, she would know what it was.
When I hear that, I think of cow, but it could be.
Oh yeah, no, it was definitely cow.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't imagine anybody else's tongue it would have been.
And there's lots of animals with tongues, but I don't think you would call them steak unless it's like a rhino or something. That would be illegal, I guess. But
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it was
cows have insanely long tongues.
yeah, he
Not
got
as big
the-
as a bison tongue. I told you about the time we had bison tongue, right? No?
No, I know
Maybe
you had
keep this-
bison the other night with Kate and Craig, you said,
Yes,
right?
that was fun.
Was that good?
That was really good. Yes, that was delightful. 3 different types of bison steak. But once, yeah, the same. What
Wait,
it,
is that
4?
3 different kinds? Is it like one bison and 3 different cuts, or you had like
Yeah.
3 different animals?
No. Well, who knows how many animals the steaks came from. This is a friend of mine who has a bison ranch, and so I get these, bag-o bisons delivered. And her mom, who runs the ranch, knows that as a German, I'll eat anything, pretty much. And so she always puts in something a little bit extra. So one of the last boxes we had, she put in tongue, and the bison tongue is huge. It's like this. It's like
Yeah, I've seen
triple the
tongues in the
size.
market.
Yeah.
There.
It's triple the size of a cow tongue.
wow.
Wow.
And the processing is rather complicated.
Wow.
You have to boil it for a long time in a vinegary solution, and then you have to peel it. You peel
Gross.
the tongue.
Feel the fun.
No,
Hmm.
no, no,
Yeah, that's
no,
rough- that's rough.
No, no,
At
not
air-
doing it.
That's really rough
Nope.
on a bison tongue, is it? No? Right. Anyway.
no. Ugh.
Yeah. Is it pretty chewy? That's what I've taught.
No, it's delicious. No,
You
it's
just-
actually, I mean, you cook it for 2.5 hours in this vinegar, salt, water solution. And it's actually really delicious. Like if you don't know what it is, like I've served it up to friends and they were like, these are really exceptionally good fajitas. I'm like, yeah, it's bison tongue.
And then you get the reactions.
Like Dana, yeah.
Just that peeling part. I don't know. I have a really odd relationship with meat because I've been a vegetarian since like 1980, but I'm married to an Australian who eats like meat. If he doesn't have meat with every meal, he thinks he's going to die.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I've been cooking and handling meat for such a long time, but I have to kind of disassociate because I don't know. It's just a weird thing. And then I tried eating it again like 3 years ago, maybe, to see, gave it a couple of months. And I just realized that I just didn't miss it that much. It wasn't that big of a deal. And I thought, all right, well, I'm just going to go back to being a vegetarian. Fuck it.
But you cook.
Don't have
But
the
there is a
opposite reaction.
disassociation when I'm handling meat and chopping it up or doing whatever. So the idea of peeling a tongue, the visual on that is like, bleh.
Yeah, it's not very good.
I think vegetarian or not, it's a little bit.
It's a little much.
It's like if somebody was like, oh, here you go, here's the speech center of the dolphin's brain, have that. I don't know, it's just weird.
I don't know anybody with a dolphin farm, but I have heart. I have a bison heart in my freezer. God knows what I'm going to do
Ooh.
with that. How do you eat
How
that?
How
big is
big is
that?
your
Yeah, that was my
freezer?
next joke. What do you do with that?
Really, is that big?
It's like size of a cantaloupe. Yeah,
So think of how big it is when
Wow.
it's in use.
I know, right? Yeah,
It's got to be
Oh, wow.
gigantic.
yeah. It's funny. I
Wow.
looked into the bag and I thought, oh, there's going to be a lot of stew meat. I'm like, that's not stew meat.
What do you do with the heart?
I don't know. I have to Google it. I have no idea what to do with bison heart. I sort of knew what to do with
You eat it
tongue.
raw, just like in the last
Yeah.
the Mohicans or the dance. Yeah, just
I
eat it
know,
raw.
right? Except that was Colonel Monroe's heart. We don't want to eat Colonel Monroe's heart, do we? Do you guys
Wow.
remember that? That was a great
I do,
movie.
but I would never pull the
Yeah.
kernel out.
Yeah, no.
Oops.
Oops.
Oh, now you make me want to watch that again.
A long time.
Yeah, it has.
He's a good
I
actor.
remember when they were filming that. I lived in North Carolina then. A lot of the native extras in that movie were people that lived in the same town that I went to college in.
Was that
Do
filmed
you
in Carolina or
recognize
New York?
people? Did you recognize people, Dana?
No, not really, because they all blended together in the background.
extras,
and
yeah.
they didn't look like they normally did. I mean, they were like 300 years in the past, and we were used to just hanging out with people in blue jeans and tennis shoes.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it was really fun to watch the movie afterwards and just think, wow, okay, that was filmed in North Carolina, and there's a shit ton of people that were from that tiny town that, yeah,
We're all in it.
Where was it
good
filmed at?
times. It was in the mountains of North Carolina, like the foothills in the mountains. So they
Like
kind
Boone?
of scoured North Carolina. I mean, there's a town in North Carolina in Maggie Valley. Mary, you might know where that is. It's called Cherokee, and it's basically
Near
it's the
Halloween.
Eastern band of the Cherokee that managed to not get forced out onto the Trail of Tears.
Oh.
So there's the interesting pocket of Native people there.
Hmm.
A trippy state. It's got some, right, Mary? I mean, don't you think North Carolina is just an oddball state?
It's not as bad as South Carolina, but yes.
Yeah, that's true.
I tried moving back after living out here for a couple of years, and I lasted I lasted about 2 weeks and then went north because it was so hot, and then came back, and I was out of there in 2.5 months because I was going to either kill myself or kill someone else.
Where were you living in South Carolina? Were you in Charleston?
South Carolina, I was living in Clinton, South Carolina, outside of Columbia when I went to college.
Good. Oh, bleh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's in Columbia? Like Fort Jackson, right? There's a shitty little military base there. Is that the name of it? I remember going down there once.
I don't really know what, I mean, Columbia's the capital, but
I mean, it's in the
nothing
middle
in
of the
Clinton.
state. There's like nothing there.
There's nothing
No.
anywhere, right? It's
Yeah. And it is
Yeah,
hot.
nothing more.
It is so punishingly hot in the summertime. Fuck that.
A little humidity.
my favorite
Oh, yeah.
story of moving back there was I sold my house here halfway across the country and bought another house, shotgun house, which is, for any of you who don't know what that is, it's long thing where you can shoot through the front door and it goes right out the back door, because you need to know that.
Mhm.
Hey,
It's a very, very South Carolina style house.
Yeah. Then that was actually North Carolina, but then we pulled in and I had to go to work the next day, and you could see the neighbors all in there, you know, looking out their front window, and this woman came over and she's like, "Hi, I'm Betty from across the street, and I just want to welcome you to the neighborhood," and blah 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 blah. "Here's some bread that I made." And she hands me this lovely loaf of bread, and, you know, classic southern hospitality. And then about 20 minutes later, she comes roaring back over and says, "My husband actually made the bread, and he left the knife or the blade in it." She had made it with like a bread machine, and I guess there's a blade. And I thought, you know, if that is not a mixed message, then I'm not sure what is. But yeah,
Yeah, that's weird.
It is weird.
but really classic sort of. I mean, a friend of mine once said Southern people are friendly, Northern people are honest, and very
Southern people
true.
are friendly
I mean,
to your face.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
you turn around and just,
you know,
then you're gonna get,
yeah, the
you'll get
second
that
you
bread
leave-
knife in the back.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
or just
Kidding.
deliver to you in the bread.
Yeah, good job with the accent, Mary. That drew a picture. I could see it.
Well, I actually can pinpoint where in the South the accents are. My dad's from Georgia, so I
Yeah.
grew up with that. And
Yeah, I know
they're-
what you mean.
they're
I
all
can do that
related.
too. It's very interesting. And if you ask someone from Alabama accidentally if they're from Georgia, they will have a shit fit. I did that once. It was
Fine, that's
ridiculous.
That's
anywhere.
Texas.
Really, if you say to an Oregonian they're California, you're gonna get tossed. Same
Yeah,
thing in Michigan.
that's
If you
a
call
murdering
me from
offense,
Ohio,
right?
I'm gonna be upset. Call me, you know, an Ohio person. I'm sure it's the same thing in Germany.
Germany
Oh, yeah.
and Dutch, you don't
So-
mix the
Well,
two.
pro-
Yeah,
provinces in
yeah, you don't want
Germany.
to, yeah, I get that a lot. You must be Dutch. Like, yeah, no, not so much.
Are you Swabian?
It's right. It's even funnier if you tell a Norwegian that they look Swedish or vice versa. It's like not a good thing to do. Like those animosities run deep. Well, inside
Yeah.
Germany, it's easy because most of those regions have a distinct dialect. I mean, I don't speak it, but when I speak German, people can usually tell that I'm from the Rhineland. They can usually tell from the inflection of my voice where I'm from, and it's unmistakable.
I worked with a lot of Germans at Freightliner,
Mhm.
and one of the guys was, man, he just would always go on about Swabians, like, oh, Swabians. I don't know where he was from.
Yeah. Well, I'm considered Prussian, so that's a whole
Yes, and
other
I
like
think he
between the
was
Prussian and
further,
Bavarians.
yeah,
and
further
Slavs.
north too.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Peter's people are Prussians.
oh, hello.
Yeah.
There's some good prejudices about Swabians, about how they're tight with their money.
Hmm.
And,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
a
yeah.
little bit Oh,
And-
hello.
Is it your fucking tail?
And Prussians are autocratic, is that what it is, or?
Autocratic. Well, harsh, I think, is
Harsh,
how
yeah,
most
it might be.
Germans-
I could tell even at work, I mean, and I couldn't hear by the accent, but when you find out where they're from, you're like, okay, that makes sense. Because they're just much curter and there's no, it's just very short, terse, no.
Yeah, very short, very terse, very flat affect. Like, so my face, like my stepson calls it the resting bitch face, right? That's just what we look like.
Yeah, but you laugh a lot more than some of the Germans I know.
Well, I know that I'm a bad German. There's really only two kinds,
Oh,
right?
I get it.
Like those of us who
You're way
couldn't
too
wait-
friendly.
Yeah, exactly. Those of us who couldn't wait to leave, and those who can't wait to go back. That's why I don't hang out with Germans here in Portland, because everybody who's here from Germany, because they're at Nike or Intel or Adidas, you know, the expats, the true German expats here. It's typically the men who come over for work, and then the women are bored housewives, overqualified, right? But basically reduced to childcare and taking care of the household. And they just, like, when you talk to them, they tell you, they go on for hours how everything is so terrible in the US, and they just can't wait to go back.
Yeah, I always found that
Well.
interesting.
Yeah, it's wild.
Same thing with some of the British
don't
guys I
like
work with.
Germans. Yeah.
Well, you
Feel
definitely
better,
have a
Laurel?
better system.
You getting cold there? You put a jacket on?
No, it's my
scarf.
scarf. It's my
Mm.
scarf. I think I just moved away. Yes, I am feeling better. Thank you. I wanted to say, Mary, I don't know who watched the concert last night, but the sign language interpreters for the national concert were incredible. I don't know. Did anybody watch besides me?
I
didn't
did,
see
and I
that.
didn't see an interpreter. So I'm not, maybe I just have the wrong channel. I don't know.
I was on Facebook Live. That's how
Oh,
I couldn't figure out a way to stream it on YouTube. So I watched it on Facebook Live, where it had a split screen between whatever I guess was, you know, the video, and then it had the sign language interpreter was almost as big as like Bruce Springsteen's video in
awesome.
Facebook Live. And there were two women, and they were just they just did an amazing job translating these songs, which of course were all, you know, carefully chosen for the moment
Right,
to inspire us. And
And were they kind of moving with it, or just?
oh yeah, they were moving, and even when I'm trying to think of a song that maybe had more like ba 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 or something in it, you know, they were like ba 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 ba. They were just like so expressive.
Go on, girls.
Amazing. It was so amazing. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, no, I get one channel on my television. I don't have cable or anything, and I just happen to have it on. And so I did watch it, but it didn't have
It didn't have the
one
ASL
of
on
the
it. Oh,
3
interesting.
local
Okay.
channels, and
Okay.
didn't have the interpreter, which is interesting. I'll have
Yeah.
to look it up.
And I don't think this is such a church going group, but did anybody watch the service today with Reverend Barber? I was like, I was like sobbing at midday. He's so good. He gave the homily today, and oh, just so good.
Yeah, an inspiring homily is always nice. It
Yeah.
doesn't really matter what
Yeah.
you are or how you believe.
Yeah,
you know,
it was
just
neat
good
because
word.
the beginning, you know, whatever the call to worship was I would say it probably had like 15 or 20 ministers from all over the US delivering that, I don't know, whatever the introduction is called in that type of a church service, but a really diverse, like geographically and racially and denomination. I don't even know what the service was today. I was thinking the service was
Were
the
they
one they went to
Episcopalians?
yesterday. I don't know. I can't remember if there was an Episcopalian in there, but it was a interfaith service that was on as part of the
Just a
Biden inaugural
non-denominational.
events. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Or multi-denominational.
Yeah.
And I had read in the post that Reverend Barber had been announced as the one delivering the homily like only 2 or 3 days ago. And so we've had a lot of exposure to him in DC because he started doing the Poor People's Campaign on Congress. And so he was up here a lot over the last couple of years. doing stuff in front of the Capitol, and very connected into DC interfaith communities here. So I would highly recommend you watch it. It's not that long if you're not the
Oh,
church
yeah.
going type.
Yeah, well, you don't want a long-winded homily anyway, you want to just get to the point.
Yeah, well, it was kind of get to the point. Like the introduction was maybe like 10 or 15 different ministers, each with like 2 sentences, and then right into the homily. And then of course they had a gospel choir, but I didn't watch beyond that. But so Kate Redmond, if you didn't watch it and you still have any tears left, you can turn on Reverend Barber.
I don't have any tears left.
Yeah, I think she about cried herself out yesterday.
Well, wait
was
a
a-
day,
it
and
was
then you
a-
have
Yeah.
some more stored up.
It was a cry-worthy day, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was. That was walking around
Mary,
just
have you-
wiping my face off all day long.
I was wondering about you, Mary. Have you gotten your vaccination yet? In and out of
I have.
hospital? Yes, you are?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't gotten word on when I'll get the second yet, but I got it a week ago
Oh, that's right.
yesterday.
Yay.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for asking.
Okay, well, shall we get going? Kate, I wrote this one for my daughter's golden birthday, based on the lyrics of Golden, which is one of our favorite Jill Scott songs, if people know it. So that's what we got today.